before we dig into this Joe Biden autopen stuff, I need to explain why. Because when we talk about Joe Biden, anything about the Joe Biden era, whether it's autopen or the illegals, whatever it is, there is a tendency, an understandable tendency to say, okay, yeah, it sucked. We all know it sucked. Can't we just move on? It's over now, right? Let's just move on. That is the tendency. But listen, that way of thinking, if that's where you're at, no, we got too many problems now, I don't want to deal with it. If that is your way of thinking, then you should understand that's why no elites ever go down. Ever. That exact way of thinking. These people in government, wealthy people all the time, will focus on government people for now. They commit crimes. They do horrific things with their positions of power in the government. And then, well, there's always a new scandal, isn't there? There's always a new House. There's new Senate races, a new presidential race. People have new scandals, new problems, new good things, new bad things. And people just kind of want to move on. I'm just not interested in it. That mentality has crushed us. The lack of justice in this country, meaning wealthy people, elite people being held to account, the lack of justice in this country is crushing this country. And the mentality of it's over, we're done with it, let's move on, that is killing us. We have got to change that mentality, and we have got to start pressing our representatives to change how they act. The COVID, how many times have I brought up a COVID reckoning? You know, I haven't let that go. Oh, Jesse, let it go. It was a bad time. Yeah, a bunch of people turned into evil tyrants, and I want them all thrown in prison. That's justice. So back to Joe Biden's autopen. We have more details, but we have to explain something. The New York Times ran an article on Joe Biden's autopen stuff. The New York Times. Keep in mind, this is a publication, if we want to call it, I was about to call it a tabloid, that has been called the Treason Times on multiple occasions. I believe that was Ann Coulter who actually called him that. The New York Times is a communist front. It has been for a very, very long time. They will destroy Republicans every chance they get. They will protect, enable, push forward Democrats every single chance they get. So they run this piece. Jeff Zients, Joe Biden's chief of staff. What did he do? He used the autopen. Apparently gave permission to use the autopen. All those pardons. Remember the day the pardons came down? Not just the big ones, the Faucis and those. We'll get to that in a minute. But the volume of pardons. It was just thousands and thousands. And everyone kind of looked around. Every president does it, and it's always gross. I'll just point that out. It's always gross. Every president does it. But Joe Biden did it. I mean, he was just letting scumbags out, as many as he could. How did that happen? Well, they just auto-penned it, basically. They said, well, here's a list. Oh, Joe, sign this. We have some additions to the list. You know what? Joe doesn't need to sign it. Let's just put the list out there. That's a really big deal. Now, the bigger deal is, why did the New York Times do this? Why? See, Mark Halperin on his show, he had an interesting little discovery about this article. Here he was.
I thought Joe Biden was pretty good in the interview. But if this were a shoe were on the other foot, I can't believe the New York Times wouldn't have gone and gotten Adam Schiff's reaction. There's no Republican reaction in that story.
Yeah.
There's no legal expert quoted in the story. Biden is now taking the position that he could delegate pardons, right? That's the position they took in the story. Everything else is fine. That's the one thing. So what do law professors think about that? What do Republicans think about that? It's absent from the story. I don't understand that as a matter of journalism. And I guarantee you, if it were a Republican, they'd have both those things. They'd have some hysterical law professor saying this is an impeachable offense, and they'd have a Republican saying this needs to be investigated. It's absent from the story. It's mad.
Why? Why not get a statement from a Republican? Why not go get a legal expert? What's going on here? Because, boy, on the surface, wow, New York Times running an article like that? Are they on the up and up now? Man, holding a Democrat to account? Wow. Let me pause on that for a moment. I have two sons, as you know, James and Luke. And you know that I eat poorly, and you know my wife eats super healthy. You know that if you've watched the show for any length of time. One time when they were kids, there was a bag of chips in the cupboard. Now, she had told the boys she wanted them to eat fruit with their sandwiches for lunch. Boys said, okay. They ate the fruit, and then they went to the pantry and ate the entire bag of chips. She was very upset. And I thought it was funny. Two, I thought it was completely understandable. But I didn't want to badmouth my wife or defy my wife in front of the kids. But I also didn't want her to crack down on them, ground them. No, nothing but vegetables. So I took the boys aside in the room, and I gave them a very stern talking to with her in earshot. Came out of the room and said, don't worry, I got it taken care of. They won't do that again. I wasn't punishing the kids. I wasn't really interested in punishing the kids. I was interested in shielding them in that moment from their mother's wrath. The New York Times is well aware that Republicans are looking into the autopen scandal. They are well aware of what Donald Trump has said about it time and time again. He's not letting it go. This is not something Donald Trump's letting go at all. Here's Donald Trump talking about it.
I mean, you're talking about the autopen. Look, the autopen, I think, is maybe one of the biggest scandals that we've had in 50 to 100 years. This is a tremendous scandal. The people on the other side of the Resolute desk, I know them. Lisa, the whole group, and they're no good. They're sick people. And I guarantee he knew nothing about what he was signing. I guarantee it.
That's not a one-off. On social media, publicly, in the media, Donald Trump has said that exact same line over and over again. The biggest scandal in 50 to 100 years. The biggest scandal in 50 to 100 years. The president of the United States of America is not letting this go. And when the president doesn't let something go, there's going to be movement. They are investigating it. It is a very, very, very big deal. And let's pause for just a second and just remember, these people punished the American people almost like it was on purpose for 4 years. Things that, even if you're a Democrat, don't really make sense unless you just hate the country. Why would you just stop natural gas exports? Hold on. You not only opened up the border, let's say you're some soft on illegal immigration person. Okay, that's a fairly standard Democrat position. They flew as many people into the country as they possibly could, purposely invading the United States of America. They took your tax dollars and created an app so illegals could schedule their invasion of the country. How could you be that evil? How could Joe Biden be that evil? Well, that's the whole point. Joe Biden wasn't running anything. People who hate you and hate this country and have worked their entire lives to burn it down were finally presented with the most damaging weapon they could have been presented with. They were presented with the powers of the presidency. This human being, Anita Dunn, this human being was essentially the president of the United States of America.
And then the third lesson and tip actually come from two of my favorite political philosophers, Mao Zedong and Mother Teresa, not often coupled with each other. But the two people that I turn to most, in 1947, when Mao Zedong was being challenged within his own party on his plan to basically take China over, Chiang Kai-shek and the nationalist Chinese held the cities. They had the army, they had the Air Force, they had everything on their side. And people said, how can you win? How can you do this? How can you do this? Against all of the odds against you. And Mao Zedong said, you fight your war and I'll fight mine.
That was the president of the United States of America. Her husband, too. Jill Biden, that horrific witch. They ran the country for 4 years. And I'm very, very worried we're going to succumb to the same thing that's human nature. Hey, let's let it go. Let's let bygones be bygones. It's too old now. We're worried about just inflation now. No. These people savaged my country for 4 years. Somebody better be held to account. We will not let it go. It's a big deal. All that may have made you uncomfortable, but I am right. I would thank you for coming to my YouTube channel, but I know how brilliant it is, and I know you love it here. So subscribe and watch. We're going to start really ramping things up and putting some funny stuff, some interesting stuff out there, some collaborations. Either way, my YouTube channel is officially the place to be. So stick around.